Hey everybody, welcome to Ignite Live. Sorry for the delay. I've got this funny thing on my Zoom that every time somebody screen shares, it boots me off. So I don't know, I got to reinstall Zoom. Well, welcome everybody to Ignite Live. It's an amazing, amazing day. I'm so excited. Big things are happening in the world of Ignite, and the fact that you are here makes it even bigger. And there's no place I'd rather be than right here with you. So thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for all the fun stuff you're about to engage upon, because we want to make today exciting. We want to awaken possibilities and step into what's possible for us each and every day. So if you've just shown up for the first time, welcome to Ignite Live. If you've been here before, well, you know the drill. We're going to do some fun and exciting stuff. Now, I want everybody to pick up their phone, and I want them to grab the link out of the Ignite Live thread that you used to get here and send it to one author that you know. Just send it to one author, be like, hey, join me, because I think a lot of authors aren't really savvy to what's happening. They're not really clear on the cool changes that we're making. So go into the thread where I posted, and you can just literally forward the link to somebody that you know is a co-author of yours. A lot of you guys are connected to the other authors. You've got friends, you've made friendships and stuff like that. Just go and send it to one other person and be like, join me, join me, join me. There's a real power in camaraderie. And, you know, people, they think like, oh, I shouldn't go, or I don't know, or what's going to happen, or what are we going to talk about? When you invite them, then they feel like there's a little bit of a lifeline there. You invite them and then they join, and then they realize that was the best thing I did all day. So thank you for doing that. All right, what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to talk about some of the stuff we learned from Jimmy Nelson. We're going to talk about ways for you to grow your business, and then we're going to do some fun, exciting networking. So what's on the brain today with JB? Well, lots of fun things are happening in the Ignite headquarters. We've got some new team members joining us, so we're super excited as we are expanding our team. We're looking for salespeople. So if you have the sales flair, if you've got the gift of the gab, if you love Ignite and you would like to be part of an incredible company and be a part of our sales team, we're definitely looking for salespeople. So if you know anybody who is fantastic at sales, someone who just really loves to help people grow. And I think one of the cringes that people have around sales is they feel like they're forcing people to buy something they don't want to buy or get something they don't need. And what I love about Ignite is it's the opposite. Like, we are really inspiring people to grow into the next versions of themselves. And that's an easy yes, easy to get excited about. And when people are ready, they just say yes. And so we want someone to help all the yeses that are coming our way. So congratulations to a lot of people here on the board today. We've got brand new authors that have just joined Ignite. Put your hand up if you're brand new. Yeah. We've got white glove authors. Put your hand up if you're a white glove author and you're doing your solo book. Yes, awesome. We've got Les Brown authors here. So if you are part of the Les Brown book, put your hand up. Fantastic. So we've got a lot of the community growing in Ignite Live. And that's what's so cool, is because you are meeting people who are doing amazing things on the planet. Now, I haven't shared with the entire community publicly, full out. But yes, Les Brown is doing a compilation book, a platinum compilation book with Ignite. And we're so excited because he really has embraced the Ignite culture. He loves what Ignite is up to. He has agreed to write an article in our upcoming self-mastery program. So those of you who are part of Ignite Possibilities or Spark Success, you're going to get an article from Les. And for those of you who just love Les Brown and you think being in a book with him is something you would love to do, please let us know. And for those of you who are brand new to the Ignite community, welcome, because this is one of the most heart-centered and fantastic places on the planet when it comes to self-empowerment. Self-empowerment, people. I don't use the word self-help anymore. And because I don't feel like people need help, help is not helpless. So self-development, self-improvement, self-empowerment is really the direction that I'm going in. All right, get out your piece of paper, because you know I love to make you do a little work. I love to make you a little grow, stretch, and expand your brand. So today, on the heels of Jimmy Nelson, if you didn't see him talk on Saturday, who was there on Saturday? Awesome. Hey, really cool. Jimmy was super informative, very fun guy. We are even in talks about doing an Ignite exclusive training program with him about getting you guys to tell your story on stage. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, Jimmy Nelson talked about the importance of telling your story in an impactful way. So you guys are all excited about writing your story. Some of you have written your story. Some of you have yet to write your story. And the writing process is phenomenal. That is really going to cement it home about your impact that you're making when you write it. But you also need to learn how to speak it. You need to learn how to share it. I will tell you, I was speaking at church last year before COVID. My mom is the ordained minister at a church, and she actually was in the hospital. And so I had to step in and do the Sunday service for her. And so she had a stroke on a Thursday, and I had to do Sunday service on that same Sunday. And I got up in front of everyone and I said, I'm here today and I'm taking over for Reverend. And I started telling the story about how my mom had a stroke in her kitchen, on the kitchen floor. My nephew found her. He phoned me. I ran over to her house. She lives about 1.5 kilometers from me. It was 40 below. I ran there. I just ran. Like Peter had the car. I knocked on the one neighbor's door. They didn't open. I knocked on the next neighbor's door. They didn't open. So I just ran. I just started running there. And it was 40 below. And so by the time I got there, I had burnt my lungs. I had frostbit my lungs. So when I got there, the ambulance was there to see my mom, but I started to have trouble breathing because the cold air and my running had actually burnt my lungs. Interestingly enough, no, of course, they took my mom to the hospital. I ended up following to the hospital in the car with my nephew, and they put me in this room that said family trauma room. And it was like a little lounge and chairs and everything, and the walls were painted like this funny peach color. And I remember seeing the sign that said family trauma room. And I started to freak out because I thought, like, this is where they put the family when they're going to tell them that the person passed away. And so I thought, like, my mom had passed away in the ambulance. Like, I was really hysterical about it. Of course, they came in later and told me that she was fine and she was recovering. I went to church on Sunday to tell everyone, and my throat started to clamp up and I started to cry in front of everyone on stage, and like totally lost my marbles and my cookies and lost it on stage with my telling my story. So the reason I tell you this is because many of you have a story that's so dear to the heart. And you have a story that when you start to tell it, you get caught up in your throat, you start to clamp up, you start to feel the stress, you start to feel all the anxiety, the emotions return. And when you tell your story, you don't tell it in an eloquent way that's really going to benefit your readers or your listeners or the people you're trying to communicate with. So what I want you to do is think about your story and the story that you're telling. And I want you to realize, how can you tell that story in a way that's going to benefit your message? So for example, I just told you that story in a way that benefits my message about how you guys are going to use your voice. Very sneaky, hey? But what I want you to do is now think about your story, and I want you to write out a couple of ideas on how your story is going to benefit your brand. How's your story going to benefit the work that you do? How's your story going to benefit the message that you're trying to make an impact? So think about your story, your Ignite moment, the book that you're in, the theme of the book. And now I want you to connect with your brand and your story. And I want you to write some ideas of how your story is going to benefit and going to uplift and be connected to your brand. So I'm going to take 3 minutes. I'll give you a little bit of quiet time to talk or to write, and then we'll come back. Okay, great. So I'd love to just ask one or two people to share. I'd love you to share. My story is, and just give us the tiniest little snippet. My story is about rags to riches. My story is about overcoming hardships. My story is about, coming back from cancer, whatever that is, a little tiny sentence. And then how that benefits my brand is, and then give us the outline. Who'd like to go first? Anyone? Diana Lockett? Yes, girlfriend, you do it.
Did I raise my hand?
Yeah, you came on camera right in front of me. It's like, boom, there she is. Okay.
I was supposed to be on a meeting with Coach, but he stood me up. So here I am. And I'm so glad I'm here. My story is truly a story of never giving up and being able to find hope and turn to your breath to be able to stay present and keep moving forward. And it is absolutely on brand with what I do when I offer coaching to other people. It's about how they can use the experiences in their life to be able to invite their pain to direct them and guide them to their purpose.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, Ashley Patterson, your turn, girl.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, so my story was about overcoming hardship and a loss of a loved one. And two things came out of it, which was, well, it was to clearly define the direction and vision of my story and my business. And then also to not just go through the motions.
So does your brand teach people how not to go through the motions, or does your brand show people how to overcome something and get clarity?
Yes.
Yeah. So the fundamentals of your story, or the values of your story, are also rooted in the values of your brand.
Correct, through consulting.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Lori Davis.
Hi, everybody. Great to see everyone. My story is about overcoming, I guess, and finding freedom through becoming an entrepreneur. What I realized many years ago, I was busy recovering from my childhood, so I became a perfectionist, an overachiever, all kinds of craziness. I might as well have been on drugs. So I started researching and developing products, programs, and services to support people in reclaiming their self-worth, which we lose pretty early on in life. And until we actually recognize the value that we have within ourselves, it's pretty tough to have successful projects, whether that's a marriage, parenting, a job, a business. So I support my clients with techniques and tools to put in their toolkit to reclaim their self-worth and take it back.
Fantastic. So I want you guys to see how relevant your story is to your brand. Like, a lot of people think like, oh, this is my story and it's really personal, and this is my brand, and they don't make the correlation on how powerful they are. So your customer is actually the person who is identifying with the journey that you've been in. So knowing your customer is going to relate to your story, using your story to relate to your brand, is actually very, very, very powerful. Because a lot of people, when they say, well, that seems very off brand, it's because like they know you for something, they know you for your story, they know what you stand for, but then your brand is something totally different. And that's why some people feel that there's a bit of a disconnect. Conversely, when people feel that it's completely in alignment, and it's completely makes sense, and it's completely in flow, and oh, I totally get why Lori Davis coaches and teaches on that, because that's her story, that's her journey, that's where she came from. There's that reassurance and that connectedness that people feel about your brand and your mission and who you are. So interlacing all of those things together is really, really valuable, about knowing your story and using it to elevate your brand. Okay, let's talk a little bit further. Your power quote. Now, lots of you have done your power quote for your story. Some of you are yet to do it. Your power quote actually should really be written when you think about it, or you don't have to do it, but one of your power quotes, or a power quote you're going to do right now in this exercise, is to create a power quote that is really definitive of your brand. So one of my power quotes is, the most successful people make other people successful. That's a JB, tried and true, all the way home quote. Now, for those of you who know me, I would hope that you would think like, that's me. That's not just my brand. That's just not catchy words put together, but that's my core philosophy. That's who I am, and that's how I perform. That's how I show up. That's how I live my life. So what I want you to do now is write out a quote. You can use your power quote and modify it, but I want you to come up with a quote that really defines you and speaks to your brand, your message, and who you are. Lots of us, will say things like, don't sweat the small stuff. Great quote. But is that 100% in line with your brand? Another one of my quotes is, you got to be it to become it. And so as the Pink Billionaire, a lot of people give me flack. You're not a billionaire. Why do you call yourself the Pink Billionaire? And I'm like, baby, you got to be it to become it. So you gotta teach them. That's part of my brand. That's part of my message. That's one of my quotes. And so it's really definitive of who I am. And so I want you guys to take the next few minutes to come up with a quote that really describes you and your brand. And now, because signature quotes are so important. How many of us have Googled Oprah and up comes on Google all of her signature quotes? How many of us have a signature quote in our head that we know over and over? We just don't know who wrote it. Or conversely, we have a quote in our mind and we know exactly who said it because it's such a powerful quote. And I want to start creating that for you. A lot of us come up with quotes and we just toss them out. We just say them. They rhyme. They sound cute. They sound funny. Fantastic. But now I want you to strategically think about your quotes, because I want your quotes to be synonymous with you. I want every time somebody Googles you, I want that quote to come up. And if that quote comes up, I want it to be like, yeah, that's so her brand. Yeah, that's so him. Yeah, that's exactly what he stands for. So take a minute now. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes to work on quotes. Did you hear my music playing when I played it? Could you hear it? Okay, cool. So I'll play my little romantic, intuitive music. Please write out a quote that you feel really describes you and your brand. Like, this is something that you put the flag in the sand. This is you. And if someone just knew one quote about you, this would define who you are. Okay, who's got a power quote they want to share? Anybody got something cool they want to share?
I have
Go
one.
ahead, Bryce. Let's hear it, Bobsler.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so glad I can make it today. You guys are
Me
amazing.
too. I love having you here. It's fantastic. Let's hear your quote that describes you.
So my quote was and is to leaders: stop focusing on being in charge and start focusing on those in your charge.
Ooh, that is so good. It's true. The greatest leaders make other people leaders. The greatest leadership is in leading others. I love that. I love that. If you're shy, drop your quote in the chat. If those of you who are shy, I'd love to hear some more. Who else wants to share? Anyone else? Pat, you got one?
I'm shy, but okay. Life changes with a flick of a switch. Be the light, be the joy.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit about your brand, because that's very on brand.
Yeah, my story is really kind of a combination of my journey with my sister who passed away with pancreatic cancer and myself dealing with a brain tumor. And it's really finding joy in the journey, through it all and beating the odds and just going through the pain and agony of the physical being, but the spirit, the fight moving forward. So
terrific. So yeah, focus on the beacon that wants to pull your clients forward. Focus on that. Charles, you got a gooder?
Yeah, your self-worth is not your net worth.
Whoa! So how many people know that Charles is totally in the financial business? He's in finances, so that's a great one. Your self-worth is not connected to your net worth?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
That is so good. I think that is so good. See how it's like boom when it's their brand and it's their message and it's what they talk about, and then their quote is like just totally wrapped around in it, how yummy and juicy it is. I love it. Anybody else got one more? Somebody else has got one more. I can feel it. Tracy Stone, I can feel it. It was just like saying something to me. She's got, there's another one.
I'm being very well behaved and quiet. So one certainly is the only permission you need to tap into your limitless potential is your own.
Mm-hmm. Which
And
is
that's
so good.
in my story.
Yes.
There's a few simpler, shorter ones like your words create your reality, so choose well.
Which is so great. Tell everybody what you do.
I am a hypnotherapist.
Yeah, fantastic. So, and I really like it because what it also says subconsciously to your clients is that you are connected to what you tell. You are connected to your message. What you teach is what you preach. What you preach is what you know. What you know is what you've been through. And so on a very subconscious level, vibrationally, your clients feel like this is totally in alignment. Wasn't you paying someone to write you copy. This wasn't you just pulling something off the internet. This wasn't you just trying to be witty. This was you actually really thinking about what your message is to them. So it's a very, very powerful exercise. And when you're speaking, let's go back to Jimmy Nelson, when you're speaking on stage, boom, you drop your quote in. Boom, you say your quote. You get people to know you by your quote. You get people to realize that that's you by your quote. So this quote now becomes synonymous with you. So if you love your quote, that should be at the bottom of your emails. First thing, start dropping your quote into the bottom of your emails. Make sure that when you sign off on something, you put in your quote. Even you can be, as so silly at the end of your podcast, when someone says, thank you for being on my podcast, you can say yes. And of course, just remember your self-worth is not connected to your net worth. It's your closing statement, right? So you use your quote all the time now. It becomes synonymous with you. And when your quote is juicy and good and it touches people's heart, and then you leave them on that note in your emails and your podcasts and all the things that you do, now they feel the emotional connection to you. And how many times have I shared that with you? People need to feel emotion to stay connected to you. People want that emotional connection. If it's just like cookie cutter, box and square, words that sound good on a page, they're not going to make that emotional connection. They're not going to remember you. They're not going to feel that connection to you. And that's what you want your customers to have, a feeling around you and what you do to keep them coming back, keep them coming back, keep them coming back. All right, next exercise. How do you stand out? So how do you stand out? This is a big thing in the planet, right? How amongst the noise, I heard a great quote, you know, a brick thrown into the Grand Canyon. How do you stand out? How do you stand out? So you stand out by your story. People don't really realize this, but you stand out by your story. You don't necessarily stand out because you've got numbers behind your name or letters. You don't stand out because you've got such and such at the bottom of your bank statement. You stand out because of your story, and then you stand out even deeper how you share your story. So if you share your story like, oh, I know you all know that I was in an abusive relationship, and you guys know that I, you know, was in a really bad situation and I lost my, like, what? Like, that doesn't make me stand out. What makes me stand out is I share with you that I was in this situation, and through all of that, I've decided to step forth and become the person that I am today. So you stand out by your story. So what I want you to do is think about your story, and I want you to write down 3 questions that your story answers for people. 3 questions that your story answers for people. So one of my stories is I had a very, very successful multi-million-dollar clothing company, kids clothing company. And at the height of my divorce with my husband, I walked away from my company. I walked away, I shut it down, I closed it, I retired, I laid off the staff, I locked the door, I took my vehicle and my kids and I drove away. I just walked away from it. I was so broken from my ending of my marriage and all of the stress of the business that I just literally, I walked away from it. I didn't sell it. I didn't recoup it. And I wish now that I was stronger. I wish now that I had someone who could have coached me. I wish now that I would have been able to have some support that would have got me through those rocky times so that I would have absolutely prevailed. We were on the cusp of doing a deal with Costco's. We were going to be in all the sports checks across Canada. We were in 17 countries around the world. I just closed the doors and walked away. I left $780,000 worth of merchandise in my warehouse that was repossessed by my landlord. I just left. So at the time, I really wished that I had somebody who could have walked me through it, who could have said, yes, this is hurting you in your personal life, but let's focus on the business. How can I help you? So my story helps anybody, for example, who may have been in that situation. My entrepreneurial journey helps you know that what questions can I answer? How do you focus on your business in a way that it's evergreen, potentially supports you and puts you in a situation where your business is working itself? You don't have to be the person to do it. My story can help people with those questions. My story can be like, how can you be a woman in business and come back after disastrous, failure in business? How can you do that? So that my story can help answer those questions. My story can help answer, like, how do you come back from a bankruptcy, for example? My story could help those questions. So have 3 questions that you feel that your story could answer for someone else. All right, give you 4 or 5 minutes to do that.
JB, quick question.
Yep.
Are you asking us to reference the chapter that we've written specifically for our most recent book, or just our story in general and books in general? Okay.
Yeah, just your story in general. If you want to reference your Ignite story specifically, because that's where your biggest anchor is, absolutely. But if not, just your story overall is absolutely fine. All right, super duper duper. Who's got something they want to share? 3 questions that your story answers. All right, Hega, go ahead, darling.
Hello, beautiful.
Hello.
The first question is, who is God Goddess? And the answer is you.
Right.
And then the second question is, why don't we have to die? And the answer is because we're all immortal. And then the third question is, how can you step out of abuse? Say no, take back your power, and reverse your pentagram.
Terrific. Okay, great. And now I want you to go one level further, and I want you to think about your client. And when your client is sitting at 2 a.m. in the morning, staring at Google in angst, what are they going to ask? What question are they going to ask? Are they going to ask, like, what is the meaning of life? Or how do I connect with my feminine self? Or, you know, what is the answer to this situation I've been in? So think about, now go next level, because now you have the questions that of the people who, your questions are people already who know the question. I want you to go one step deeper of the people who don't even know the question that they need to ask. So that's really powerful also, because there are clients of yours who don't even know what they need to ask. So a client of mine be like, how do I, for example, get over bankruptcy? That's a very specific question, but there might be somebody who says, like, how do I get back on track after losing my business? Or how do I find my purpose in my next project or my next business? Like, they might not even know what the question is they need to ask. So think on that level too. Great questions. Great questions. Anyone else? Kathleen Sinclair, how about you? You've got a very distinctive brand and clientele. What are their questions they're asking?
Well, I kind of went at it the wrong way, but listen, I'll make it up. So for my group over 60, does getting older stop me from being active? And my thing is, age doesn't matter. I mean, I wrote down some positive things without thinking of the question, like being older is a privilege. The older you get, the more freedom of expression you have. Creativity expands as you get older. But I've got to go back, like you said, and see what the questions are. What are the questions that might be asked? Yeah.
That's really great though, because you found the first level of, this is the kind of things that my customers would be thinking. So it's great. Like, you're all doing it right. What is my customer going to be thinking? And then what is my customer questions are going to my customer ask? Teresa, you got a really good one. You want to share it?
Sure. I'm trying not to be too loud. I'm not talking to you. Everybody's working from home.
No problem.
Yeah, I think those are 3 that stuck to me about
you want to just read them?
Story. Sure. How can you survive and thrive after trauma? How can you live a full, rich, fun life while growing and running a business and a family? And how can I tap limitless potential and put myself in the places of most potential?
Fantastic, right? So people are going to start stirring in their minds, like, this is where I'm at. This is, how can I overcome and survive after trauma? Like, these are the questions they're going to ask themselves. And these are the questions that you have the answers to based on your story. So I hope you can see the intertwining that I wanted to establish today around your story, and how your story isn't just a story that you wrote on a page and put in a book. Your story now is part of your brand. It's part of your message. It's part of what people know about you. part of your vernacular, part of your nomenclature. It's all of those things that you start weaving into you. Very, very powerful. All right, so that's your exercise for today. Thank you. And as far as it goes on how can you grow your brand today, what I would love for you all to do is go into your Facebook and post Spring Forward, Ignite Your Life, and give them a little words of wisdom. Spring Forward, Ignite Your Life, and give them some words of wisdom, a little bit of your story, maybe a link to your book, maybe a little thing like, what are you springing into today? Start engaging with your clients in a new way on Facebook. Now that it's spring, now that you've written your book, or you're about to write your book, you're about to do your story, you're a part of Ignite, start educating and conditioning your followers into what you're into. So you can use your quote that you shared today. You can share your quote and then tell people a little bit about the philosophy behind it, and then ask a question. One of the most important things you need to do in social media nowadays is to ask them a question. Make it about them. You got to make it about them. Gone are the days where social media was just so fun to just talk about what you were up to. Now you've got to share what you got to make people talk about what they're up to, because it's really about them now. They're really going to engage when they feel like you want to hear from them. So whatever you post, and I'd love you to post today, is just get excited about conditioning your followers into what is your message. And if you need to share your story, you can share what you learned today on Ignite Live. I learned XYZ. Today I want to talk about my story because I see it's part of my brand. Da, 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 da. Take something from today and put it into your social media, either your Facebook, your Instagram, wherever you are. Even if you want to write something for LinkedIn, use something today, and don't be a perfectionist about it. Just let it go. Just get it out there. You've got to promote yourself. You've got to talk about what you're up to. Now, on the topic of promotions, we're going to move into our networking section. So each and every one of you get to network with somebody here. So the way networking works is we love for you to break you into rooms, and then we want you to share. My name is such and such. Your verb, I help, I support, I encourage, I inspire, I help people, and then tell people what you do, how you do it, and how quickly you do it. That's everything that people want to know. Very quickly, they're going to know if you're their customer, or they may have a customer for you. So I'm JB. I help entrepreneurs and authors write incredibly life-changing transformational stories in a wonderful 4-month process. Boom. Now you know if that's interesting to you or not interesting to you. Now you know if you want to know more or not ask for more. The reason I get you to network like this is I want to start training you and conditioning you. So no matter where you are in a networking event, where you are on the spot, where you are on a podcast, you've got that sentence down pat. You've said it out of your mouth numerous times. You're ready and prepared for it. So then it invites more of a conversation. It invites your customers to ask more. Really? How do you do that? Oh, really? Just 4 months? Oh my goodness, I'm an author. I'm an entrepreneur. And so you say it in a way that invites people. All right, so we're going to put you into breakout rooms. I'd love for you guys to share your intro, your networking intro. And then I would love you to share your quote. Share your quote with each other so each person can see and hear your quote and get to know a little bit about you. All right, Peter, are you ready for breakouts?
I'm ready.
And just if you remove me from as a host or remove me as a part of the breakout room, that would be great.
Okay.
Off you go. You've got 2 minutes each. So 4 minutes, team. We'll see you back in 4 minutes. Off you go. Hi, Hannah. How are you?
Okay, everyone's back.
All right, here we are. Thanks, Peter. I appreciate that. Okay, I'd love to know, can somebody introduce somebody they met that was super awesome? Who'd like to introduce somebody? Yeah, go ahead, Kathleen.
So I met Tracy. I've known Tracy. I did the writing course with Tracy and you, and so it was just really fun to see her again. But one of the things that we were talking about is marketing. Once you have your product, once you develop this, is that, are you going to do some marketing kinds of, I know you've been doing all of these tips and things of how to grow your audience, but are you going to be doing some marketing things with us also on this group?
Yeah, sure. Next week I'll do marketing. See, all you have to do is ask.
So, I mean,
Isn't that
I
great?
told Tracy, I have a publicist that I pay money to, but I told Tracy to ask you because you're really well connected and you can move her in the right directions. And that's what I wondered, if you do marketing. Thank you.
Terrific. Absolutely. I definitely do marketing, and I can help. I will bring next week. I'll talk marketing tips. Let's do that. And we'll definitely do marketing next week then. Great. Tracy, you want to introduce Kathleen?
Yeah, so Kath and I did have a wonderful chat, and we've met in one of the breakout rooms a couple of weeks back, and we've known each other from before on that. So Kathleen is amazing. Kathleen is writing incredible books that are going to help people of a certain age, ladies in particular of a certain age. But this was quite an interesting conversation for us because she's creating her online course. I'm creating an online course. And we were talking about, how to publicize, how to get it out there, because we might know a lot of things, but there are other things that we may not be experts in as well.
Fantastic. Well, I have a little great thing I'll share with you. Ignite Connect is expanding, and we are going to be adding our Ignite Institute to that, and we will be putting in courses. So if you ladies have courses and you want to know the Ignite platform or the Ignite style that we'd like to produce a course, help have your course, and you want to know the way we like it to be produced, reach out to Peter and he can share that with you. We like to do a 5-week course, include your video, your workbook, your training. So we're happy for any of you who has a course that you would like to house and do a rev share on the Ignite Connect IC platform. Please reach out to us and we're happy to do that. We really want to have an environment to house your courses. So that's a great thing. Absolutely. Great, great, great. Mike, you had your hand up. Who do you want to introduce?
Unmute.
Unmute yourself.
There we go. Got it.
Hi, Mike.
Lori Davis. Lori Davis is a 32-year entrepreneur, and she's very well versed in putting people together online specifically. She's got thousands and thousands of hours of doing this online, and I didn't even want to talk. I just wanted to hear her talk for 4 minutes. She could have kept going. I know her list is a lot longer than we got.
Terrific. I love it. All right, Lori Davis, introduce Mike.
Well, I'd like to introduce you to Mike Ledoux. I am a car buff, and I have a classic Cadillac that needs some repairs, and I was delighted to find out that Mike has in-house storage for car parts, which are very difficult to get right now with COVID. So he ships all over the world. You can get in touch with him at his Instagram address, which he has on his picture. And my husband was a mechanic and an aircraft maintenance engineer, so we had lots of great chats to talk about that. But I was delighted to find out that he is in a position to ship you parts for your vehicle.
Wonderful. Amazing. See, that's what I love about Ignite is like, I'm really good at what I do, but you guys are really good at what you do. And if we all join together and see what each other does, like we're taken care of, like we're set. It's all going to be fantastic. Great job, everyone. Love it. There's some doozers in the chat. How do I transform out of a job to having my own business? Fantastic. Great questions. Tracy Stone, Diana Lockett, Bryce. Fantastic. You guys are really, really, really great. So keep it up and keep connecting. Now, I want to share with you that we need to grow Ignite Live because I'm not sure where all our authors are hiding, but if you know some authors that you have co-authored with in other books, please reach out to them and share about Ignite Live. I'm giving away t-shirts to people who bring the most people to Ignite Live. It says Ignite Possibilities on them. They're fantastic t-shirts. So Go and get your people to join us for next Tuesday on Ignite Live, and we'll talk about marketing. This Saturday at Candlelight Conversations, Andrew Kapp is going to be joining us. He wrote this incredible book called The Only Book You'll Ever Need to Read About the Law of Attraction. So he has this really amazing theory about teaching you about the law of attraction. He even made a joke. He's like, I kind of backed myself into a corner because if I read the only book you ever need to read about law of attraction, then I can't write any more books about it. So it's very, very cute. He's a really fun guy. He's going to be on Saturday on Candlelight Conversations. So join us for that. If you missed the Writer's Nest last week on Sunday, that was ran by me. You can watch the recap in your Ignite Connect and check out what that's all happening. And of course, if you're just new to Ignite and you're part of the Les Brown group, welcome to the community. You're just one of all of us. And for anybody who would like to be a part of the Les Brown book, anyone here want to write their next story in the book with Les Brown? Please put your hand up or reach out to me and we can make that happen. Yeah, Pat, I know you and I wanted to chat about that, so please reach out to me. Parnell, I don't know if you wanted to chat with me about that, but just let me know. And I think that's all that's happening with Ignite this week. Is anything, am I missing anything, Peter? Oh yeah. I wanted to give you guys all a gift for showing up. We have something in Ignite Connect called 100 Writing Affirmations. So Peter's going to drop that in the link. It's an article, or it's 100 writing affirmations that I wrote last year, and I put them in a document. And I wanted to share that with all of you, 100 positive writing affirmations. And then I wanted to gift you to share that with your community so that you had something to post. So if you guys want to talk about the excitement of writing, how much you're enjoying writing, how much you're part of this cool community about writing, and you want to share my 100 gifts, my 100 affirmations, writing affirmations, I'm giving you that free to share with your community. And that way you too can see 100 writing affirmations for yourself, and then gift that to other people to get them to connect with you, feel that giving. For those of you who saw Manny Lopez on Candlelight Conversations a couple of weeks ago, his entire philosophy is, how do we serve? How do we give first and get later? How do we give most importantly? So this is me gifting to you to gift to others, to let people know the kinds of things that you can gift out. So Peter's going to drop that in the chat, the 100 affirmations. You can share that with people and they can go and sign up for Ignite Connect and get a copy of that. All right, anybody have any questions? Anybody having any conundrums that they need help with, or a mini Ignite? If you're new to Ignite, a mini Ignite is something that's happened that's really precious to you in the last 24 to 48 hours, something that really stirred your heart and was really powerful. Go ahead, Haga.
Oh, I have a question.
Yep.
So since I finished my article with you and the polish, and then I was in the Writer's Nest, and then we had all the exercises today. If there are small changes, can I make them, or do you suggest just leaving it as it is?
Yeah, I suggest leaving it because we're at that point now where
Okay.
changes are hard. Corrections are easier, but changes are a little bit hard. So
Okay,
I
so
know,
I'll leave it.
Marina, you wrote in the chat that you wanted to go back and look at your PowerPoint, but if you haven't gone through sign off yet, then I would suggest not.
Okay.
Mike,
I'm
you
happy
had your
with
hand up?
that.
Sorry?
Sorry, me?
Yeah, go ahead. Did you have a finish the sentence?
Oh no, I just said I'm happy with that. I'll leave it as it is. Thank you.
Yeah, Mike?
Yep. So I went through the first stage of editing last night or yesterday.
Hey!
Yeah, it was awesome. But we didn't get to the end. And she said there's two ways we can do it. I can either finish it myself or reschedule. And I know we're on a tight timeline, but I don't feel comfortable like I can continue to work on it, but I feel like I would like her to look at it again. Can I?
Absolutely. So Peter can drop in the link. If you're going to do another editing session with somebody, a second one with the same editor, there is a little bit of an editing fee for that. If that's okay with you, Peter can drop that link in. If not, you can go on to the next editor and she can help you finish all of it again and finish that part. If you loved Alex and you want to finish with her, we totally recommend it. So you can just reach out to her and rebook. And Chloe is the Happiness Strategist Project Manager. So you can reach out to Chloe and be like, Chloe, I need to move my appointments around because I want to have another meeting with Alex.
So that's perfect. So the second editor is going to help finish what we didn't quite get through on the first one?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay, JB.
yeah.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah. Now, some people like to, I mean, we do have additional editing sessions that you can purchase, and then you can go stay with the same editor and finish. Some people have booked 2 and 3 extra editing sessions because they need extra time. They want extra length. They want to learn more. They want to capitalize more on their time with the editors. If not, just go on to your next editing session and the editors will help you with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
JB,
Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead, Marina.
JB, so I haven't done my final sign off and I don't need to change the text, the story. I was just thinking about the power quote because I realized that what I have now is not 100% aligned with my brand. And literally there's just one sentence in the
No
power.
problem. Yep. So edits at igniteyou.life. Just send your changes and your requests to edits@igniteyou.life. And then the editing team will get back to you and make those corrections.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. We want you to be happy. This whole thing is like, I want you to just ooze the love for your story. So we try as hard as we can. Now, if you've already had sign off and you've had all your editing and then you come back to me with 10 or 12 changes, that's a totally different story. But if you just want to change one thing, we can absolutely do that.
Thanks.
Anybody else? So great job for all of you meeting the deadlines and all of you finishing your story. So normally what happens is your story will go to our final editor. It'll come to you for DocuSign. It'll go back in for typesetting, and then it'll come back to you and you'll be able to see it one more time in what we call a spread. So you'll see your story spread out on the page and you'll be able to see it one more time. So absolutely fun stuff. Now, Clint, I got to just chat with you. Don't leave, Clint. I'll talk to you because I have a meeting with you Sunday. Does anyone need an appointment with me that they can't seem to squeak into their calendar? If you want to stay after, I can help book with you guys right now if anybody needs to get in with me. And on that final note, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being who you are. I really do love and adore each and every one of you. You all have different personalities. You have different stories. You just bring so much to the table. And I was saying to Peter, like, I'm the luckiest person ever because I get to work with the coolest people on the planet. And I just feel like every single cup is filled with your support, your love, your encouragement, your interest, your excitement, your education, your teaching, your training, your enthusiasm. You guys just make it a great job to be me. So thank you so much. So grateful. All right, any way that Ignite can help you, reach out. If you've got something going on in your world and you want us to post it on social, send it to social@igniteyou.life. If you need help, it's info@igniteyou.life or support. If you need Peter for IT, it's peter@igniteyou.life. I'm JB@igniteyou.life. And of course, we've got our happiness strategists who are available at any time. So we are here for you on every single level. Always here to support you. And you can always just ping me directly on Messenger. All right, my lovelies, have a great night. Have a great day wherever you are in the world. Go out and ignite lives and just, go give yourself a big kiss in the mirror. All right, take care, everyone.